Hey everyone, Al from Fender here. We're in Fender Studios in Corona, California, talking about our new American Professional Classic series of instruments that blend vintage vibe with some modern playability. And joining us, we're happy to have Saul Littlefield, one of the best session guitarists out there today. Thank you, Saul.
Oh, thank you.
Let's get right into it. So the American Professional Classic Series has a little bit of everything. It's got Strats, Tellies, basses, even offsets like Jaguars and Jazz Masters. I wanted to talk a little bit about how these different instruments inspire you when you're at your sessions. Obviously, each different guitar does something different for you. How does that inspire you? Do you play differently on each different instrument?
Definitely play differently on each instrument. I wouldn't say it's even so much about genres and styles as it is just more finding inspiration in the room, like picking up something that might be the opposite of what you would typically go for, just to try to get something. It's, you know, there's some situations where it's like a telly's got to be a telly, or you got to play a Strat on for a certain sound. But a lot of the time, I'm just trying to do something that's going to pique people's ear.
Let's talk about the Coastline pickups. All American Professional Classic Series instruments have Coastline pickups. They are inspired by our pure vintage pickups that we use in our American Vintage 2 line. So, for instance, the Strat I'm holding has Coastline 57s based on our 1957 pickups. Saul's got an American Professional Classic Telly with the Coastline 63 pickups. These are made very accurately to vintage spec with fiber bobbins, Alnico magnets, cloth-covered wire, but we've overwound them a little bit. That's why they're called Coastline. They're overwound a little bit, which gives you a little bit more warmth and a tiny bit of output boost. And I'm going to let Saul demonstrate really quick what the Telly Coastline 63 pickups sound like, because they're amazing.
To me, it feels like classic Telecaster, but with just a little bit of an extra kick.
So you noticed that?
Yeah, definitely, especially down here. There's no flimsy, like I'm not losing any low end or anything, picking close to the bridge, like same. Very even, you know, I'm not running a compressor or anything, that's pretty much straight into the amp with a little bit of slapback and really even, you know.
I'm going to trade guitars so we can hear your amazing playing with some Strat tones. How about that?
Yeah.
But again, these are Coastline 57 Strat pickups, and he's holding the new model in Sherwood Green Metallic, faded Sherwood Green Metallic.
I've always found that there's just so much you can do with a single coil pickup. It's never really been essential to me to have humbucker guitars. I keep them around for certain things.
The Strat here has the Coastline 57 pickups, again based on our 1957 pure vintage pickups. What you're holding has the Coastline 63 Telly pickups, and you've been playing that all day. What do you think of those pickups?
Oh, these are fantastic. Yeah, they just remind me my old 50s and 60s guitars. They've got the vibe.
Yeah, now we also have, like I said, offsets, an American Professional Classic Jaguar and Jazz Master.
I'm a big user of tone controls. I know a lot of people disconnect them or don't use them, but I use the tone control on the guitar more than I do the volume. That's really important to me. And then I think it's, coming up with a cocktail of pedal sounds and amp settings and whatever post-production stuff you're doing too with your tone control setting. For me, like, that's more important than anything, really.
You do use your tone knob a lot, and these American Professional Classics have the grease bucket system in all the tone knobs. The grease bucket tone system, by the way, folks, is a tone knob that will allow you to roll off the highs without getting tubby, and it won't subtract your gain, which is a really versatile feature to have. And Saul's fantastic at using it.
You can kind of get what typically you think of as being kind of like the Clapton Brown sound, like really rolling all the way off on a bridge pickup with a telly always gives that nice. Yeah, it's just there's something a little more round about it, and neck pickup you really get into like. It's not muddy at all, I mean, that's all the way off, but it's just kind of like putting like a really nice, like low pass filter or something on. I love those kind of woolly sounds.
One of the other great features about the American Pro Classic Series instruments are the necks. These are really easy playing, wonderful feeling necks. They're a modern C shape, so it's kind of a Goldilocks shape that's not too thick or thin. They have 9.5-inch radius and medium jumbo frets, so it's really easy to bend. And they have satin finish, so on the back it's nice and silky smooth. Now, when you're playing, do you prefer the glossy neck or the satin necks like these?
Oh, definitely the satin.
The modern radius allows you to bend a lot. I noticed that in your playing, you do a ton of bending.
Yeah.
And maybe you can show us some of that, but can you talk about how the way these necks feel to you when you're playing?
Yeah, they feel exactly like that, just like a mix between vintage and modern, and not really too far one way or the other. Yeah, just right in the middle. I always like necks on the bigger side, and this feels right to me, especially on a Strat. Yeah, I mean, if you can get like almost up to like 5 steps. Yeah, you can get up there.
Yeah. Yeah, so all the instruments have these necks. You get your choice of maple or rosewood fingerboard as well, so that's great. Those are classic Fender options. And yeah, these are just gonna feel great right out of the box. They're gonna play easy, and you're gonna love them, I know it. So American Professional Classic Series instruments are incredibly tuneful and musical. They're also really reliable. You can rely on them not just for being well built and tough and road ready, but also reliable for their tone. You know what you're getting when you get an American Professional Classic Strat or Tele. You're gonna get those classic Fender single coil, crystalline bell-like tone.
It's really essential that a Strat is going to sound like a Strat. If you get asked to do something, it's like, yeah, it's all well and good if you're doing some experimental project or something, but most of the time when you're in the studio, whatever gets asked of you stylistically or tone-wise is usually some sort of reference or throwback to a classic sound. A song has been written around a guitar part. Like someone wrote something that they want a Nile Rodgers chic-sounding Strat part, or they want a Jimmy Page Led Zeppelin 1 part, and you have to be able to decode that, and there's certain things that just aren't going to work with that. Get a Stratocaster, it really needs to sound like one, especially on the neck pickup and the 2 and 4 positions. That's what I'm 90% of the time if I'm picking up a Strat, it's to do that.
The reliability, not just in knowing what it's going to sound like, but also, like I said, they're road ready, tough, They'll always be there when you need them. All the American Professional Classic series have headstock adjust truss rods, so you can adjust the neck on the fly really quickly, which is great. They all have vintage-inspired hardware, so you'll notice that the Tele has a 3-saddle brass bridge. Strat has a vintage synchronized tremolo. All the basses have lollipop tuners, which is really, really cool. And the guitars have a really interesting set of tuners called Classic Gear. They look like vintage-style tuners, but they have a modern mount, no screws, mounted with a nut, and that means you're never gonna strip out the headstock if you have to change your tuner. And it also means that all our modern style tuners are drop-in replacements. If you want to use regular tuners or locking, they can go right in there. So these Classic Gear tuners have another hidden feature, so to speak, that it's hard to see unless you close up on the guitar, but they're staggered so that the high strings have a shorter post and the 2 fat strings have taller posts. That gives better break angle over the nut for the higher strings, and then you can get more wraps on the taller shafts on the low end strings, which is great because I don't know how you like to set up your guitar, but I usually get 2 or 3 wraps, and it's hard to get up to 3 wraps on the the low strings if you don't have a taller post. One other thing we didn't mention was the colors. So we've got a lot of great colors in this series. 4 of them are vintage colors that are faded a little bit. One of them you're holding there, the faded Sherwood Green Metallic. We also have faded Fire Mist Gold, faded Black, and a faded Dakota Red in the series, as well as Butterscotch and Burst. So you get a great array of colors there. Do you have a favorite vintage color? I think you probably have a lot of Burst and Butterscotch stuff, don't you?
I do. I've got a lot, but I love anything that's like the classic car colors. Like I love a Daphne Blue or Sherwood Green. Like those are all, they always appeal to me a lot. Like little candy apple red.
So that's it, folks. In summary, the American Professional Classic line of instruments is brand new from Fender. It includes everything you need, nothing you don't. We've got vintage-inspired colors, beautiful new coastline pickups, fast-playing C-shaped necks, great vintage-inspired hardware. Models in the American Professional Classic line include a Strat and a Strat HSS, an American Pro Classic Tele, and a Hotshot Telecaster with a versatile 3-pickup configuration, an American Pro Classic Jaguar and Jazzmaster, and of course basses, American Pro Classic Precision Bass, Jazz Bass, and Mustang Bass. If you need more information, please go to Fender.com. And before we go, I just wanted to thank our friend Saul Littlefield. What an amazing player you are. Thank you so much for coming down. It was a pleasure to meet you and hear you playing. Thanks a lot, man.
Appreciate it.
See you next time, folks.